Well, usually it is a Saturday game plan show. How about a Friday game plan on Orange and Blue today? Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason. We're almost there, Mace, to game time. We're going to break it down, but the excitement, you can cut it with a knife.
'Twas the night before playoffs and all through the house.
There's going to be a lot of restless nights tonight in Broncos country, that's for sure.
Yeah. Like Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt I sleep very much tonight because I've just been waiting for this game, wanting to get to this game, and now we are almost there, my friend.
First home playoff game since January 2016. I mean, I've been thinking about that, just what it's going to feel like even just driving to the stadium and then walking up to it, feeling the buzz around the stadium, the fan anticipation, the energy that's going to be around Empower Field at Mile High on Saturday. Playoff football obviously hits different, and this has been a long time coming. I mean, I was just thinking about this. You have to go back to the opening 17, 18 seasons of the franchise for the last time that there was this long a gap between home games for the Broncos, right? Because there was a 6-year gap between, or a 6-year gap, pardon me, between the AFC Championship game against Pittsburgh and then playing Pittsburgh in the wild card round, the Tebow to DT game. And there was a 7-year gap between Jets AFC Championship game and then the Champ Bailey interception game against New England.
Right.
And then I believe it was a 5-year gap between the drive to and then hosting Jacksonville in January of 97. And then another notable gap was from January 1st, 78 AFC Championship game to the Divisional Round in the 1984 season, right there at the end of 84 when the Broncos lost to the Steelers. So that this is literally the longest gap between home playoff games since the Broncos first made the postseason. So
craziness.
It doesn't just feel like a while. It has been a while in being just a few days shy of a full decade between home playoff games. Denver's not used to this.
Not at all. And now that it's back, the craziness will be, as the big fella used to say, off the chain. And Mace, you can juxtapose how we saw, remember us driving into Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Driving to that stadium and driving through those crazy fans. And I say that with a lot of love because those guys love football. I imagine Broncos country is going to be just as crazy outside the stadium.
Yeah.
Minus the breaking tables. That's their thing.
Yeah. The tables will be intact. At least among Broncos fans. There'll be some Bills fans who sneak in, I'm sure. You'll see some royal blue specks among the navy blue and orange, and so there will be some tables sacrificed at Bills tailgates, but that's their thing.
Yeah. Not the Broncos thing. How many Bills fans would you expect? 10,000?
No.
7,000? 5,000?
I'd say 1,000 or 2,000.
Wow. Okay. Well, that'd be great.
Enough to where you'll see the royal blue and red specks, but
it definitely stands out.
Yeah, but not to where it'll be like last week down in Florida where you could really hear them. Like when Trevor Lawrence went back to throw in attempting to bring the Jags back in the final minute, he was having to deal with some serious crowd noise from Bills Mafia. That's how many fans. It won't be like that. I don't think it'll be like that.
No, I don't believe it'll be like that either. What will it be like for the Broncos offense. Let's start on the Broncos offense. And we kind of do what we did on the Thursday show of like, okay, run the ball, make sure you're playing the hot hand, kind of monitoring. There's going to be a lot of gut feels in this game, Mace.
Yeah.
And I think the gut of Sean Payton, that's a gut I trust. Even though at times this year he hasn't run it enough, he hasn't used Jaleel as much as he should have. I believe when it comes playoff crunch time, divisional round, home game for the Broncos, Sean Payton's gut should be right about the running back usage.
Yeah, I think it will be. And Joe Lombardi indicated this on Wednesday, feeling it out. You used the phrase hot hand when you asked the question, and Lombardi said it's going to kind of be feeling out who's right for the situation. And I think it'll be based on just who's doing better. If RJ Harvey gets into a good flow, we'll probably see a lot of RJ Harvey. If RJ gets off to a tough start, but Jaleel is ripping off some nice gains, as we saw in some contests down the stretch, it'll be Jaleel's day. So just, you feel it out. That's what you do. You're prepared to react organically to whatever the situation brings you. That's all. Just you have to trust. You have to trust their instincts here, because they've got a lot of experience. They know the roster. Sean Payton has, obviously playoff experience going back nearly 20 years here. So that's where you have to say, okay, all right, do your thing here, Sean. You've said since July that this is a team that had a chance at a Super Bowl, one of 7 teams that you've coached that you felt could be there in the big game at the end. All right, go to it.
Yeah, it's a special group. Those guys know it as well. And staying steady, I think mentally, maybe I should have started there, but like the steady mental game, I believe Troutman told you what, stay grounded? You had mentioned that.
Yeah, like I that was something that I asked him about on Thursday. The mental game, and part of it is like just not getting too caught in the moment, being aware of the moment, but not letting it overwhelm you. Here's Adam Troutman.
I think we're just going to stick to what we...
Wrong one. Sorry, that was Bill Bleachy. Here's Adam Troutman.
We talked about it, right, all week. It's like, you don't have to do anything spectacular. We just have to do what we've been doing. And obviously, like, offensively, we want to play better. But, yeah, you can't just change anything, right? Because sometimes a little too much intensity start to go blackout mode, and then, like, you start missing assignments or whatever the case is. So just kind of staying grounded and treat it like a normal game.
Too much intensity, blackout mode. I thought that was an interesting way of putting it.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. And Evan Engram said something too. Well, let's hear from Troutman's fellow tight end, the veteran who has led the Broncos tight ends in receptions and receiving yards this year.
I think there's 2 edges of the sword, right? You don't want to, pipe it up too much. This is football. You go out there, you have fun, you fly around, and you just kind of enjoy the moment. And, I think the more you can do that, the more you play your best. But also, there's a lot. Every blade of grass matters. Every play matters, and the details definitely go up a little bit more. So I think, there's 2 sides of it. It's just another football game. Let's go out there and have fun and win the game, and let's keep it moving on. But also, every step that we take throughout the week leads to the victory when we get to Sunday.
Yep.
Don't think too much about it. It's football. Stay grounded. And this team doesn't have the wide eyes that they did a year ago when they were just happy to be there. They understand who they are, they understand the position they're in, and they understand the challenge that is in front of them. Your home playoff team, your divisional round, your number 1 seed. Go win this thing. Yeah. You win 3 of these things, and you're Super Bowl champions.
But you got to be thinking just about the one in front of you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the goal, but focus on the matchup in front of you right now. That's the thing.
What will the tight end usage be like in your estimation? Because if they're going to run the ball,
Yes.
and then Buffalo adjusts to that by bringing more men in the box, that's football 101. To me, it says that middle of the field is going to be there, and it's going to be there for a guy like Engram. I'm thinking 2 players, and maybe even 3 if I talk about Marvin Mims because we love him so. But like if this is an RJ Harvey breakout, awesome. If this is an Evan Engram breakout, that might be very impactful.
Yeah. Maybe this is what you've been waiting for. Maybe this is where you finally unleash him. Wouldn't that
Finally see the Joker.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't it be something if the Joker question is finally answered in this game?
Mm-hmm.
After all this time.
You get to see the vision Sean has had for Evan Engram.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be something if it all came together in this game? Like all the pieces along the way, and it finally came together. Now, that being said, we heard what Sean Payton said last Friday about the offense and how it performed in the final couple of games of the regular season. Do you think that was legit? Do you think he was sandbagging a bit? What do you think of kind of how he assessed it?
Yeah, I think he was sandbagging a little bit. I think there's things that Sean Payton wants to show that, he's waiting to show. And there's no need in that game specifically to like show too much or try to do too much.
Yeah.
Save a little bit, surprise the Bills where you can. And I think honestly, and Bills players would probably never tell you this, maybe privately, they're going to notice a difference between last year's team and this year's team. For the guys that played in both games, I believe, because Sean said it on Thursday, like the cut-up show just how different this team is. Yeah. And some of that is the more things they can do this year than they could a year ago with the rookie quarterback.
Yeah, and I'm also going to play Adam Troutman's assessment of it too, because I asked him about those last couple of games. Because I think some of it, and also the Raiders game last month, some of it is what they were facing coverage-wise. In terms of going back to, we talked about zone versus man yesterday, and certainly the Chiefs game especially, soft zone, a lot of soft zone. Raiders game last month, a lot of soft zone. So we saw the long drives, which, hey, it's good the Broncos can have those long drives, but it put a kind of a lid on the offense. So here's Adam Troutman talking about the last couple of games before the first round bye.
Teams scheme us very well, and teams show us things that we never see before, and obviously it's a credit to teams being ready for Sean. Like they're like, we got to give him something different, or he's gonna be ready for it, type of thing. So it's being able to adjust and adjust faster and adjust quickly. So that's what we need to do better when we get looks that maybe we haven't seen yet or as much as we've seen.
That was interesting.
I like it. I like how other teams are going to look at Sean and be like, we got to give him something or else he's going to know what to do against us.
There's a lot of respect for Sean Payton there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that'll be coming from Sean McDermott this week too.
Yes. Here's the thing that happens though sometimes when teams do that. Sometimes they get kind of too up in their headspace and they can get kind of too cute and try to get too crafty and creative when they're facing somebody like Sean Payton, and they go away from things that are their strength because, like, okay, we have to change up something here because we have to adapt to what we're facing because this guy we're going against is going to throw all these things at us. And now the other thing that comes into play with the Broncos offense is because they have so many ways to attack you, it puts an additional onus on the defense of saying, okay, well, they could go ass on the ground, and certainly Buffalo, very weak run defense, 31st in EPA per play, 31st in rush defense DVOA. They could go ass that way, but if we go soft zone, they've shown fine. We'll take the dink and dunks. We'll go We'll get in. We'll get in a rhythm. Like we'll just keep ourselves on schedule. But then you have a game like the Packers game last month where they were able to beat Green Bay over the top, and Bo was more than willing to, when he saw Troy Franklin one-on-one down the sideline, to take those shots. And again, another difference from last year to this year, those shots weren't working. Of course, it did work for the early touchdown in that game, but a frustrating aspect of 2024 was those deep shots weren't there. And even early in the 2025 season, think back to the Chargers game in week 3, how few of those deep shots were connecting. Like, remember Bo being caught on the sideline saying, I had so many chances.
Right.
Well, then as the season has gone on, especially starting with the Chiefs' home game, more of those chances have been capitalized on. The fact that one of the encouraging things is that you juxtapose the Raiders road game and the Packers home game, and the Broncos offense winning in 2 completely different ways. That's very encouraging, and I think puts some stress on Sean McDermott trying to game plan in terms of what he is trying to expect from Sean Payton.
And I love the fact that they can win in multiple ways.
Yeah.
You want to go over the top, you can. You want to have 14 play drives, which are very difficult.
Yes.
That's the reason why teams play soft zone. They're going to rally to the ball, and they figure along the way you're going to make a mistake or your drive will stall.
Yep.
The Broncos are capable of fourth quarter comebacks. They're capable of controlling things. They're capable of winning in all sorts of ways.
Yes, and even though the last couple of weeks, weren't what you wanted, this is still an offense that has gotten better down the stretch. Just look at what it's doing in EPA per play and success rate.
I love that success rate.
Yes, that they've gone from 28 to 7. The success rate tells you they've become a more consistent offense in the last 7 games of the season, the final 8 weeks, that they've gone from 28 to 7th, 41.3% in success rate to 47. And then you look at passing offense there, they've gone from 30th in success rate to 8th.
Wow.
And EPA per drop back, they've gone from 20th to 7th. That is incredibly encouraging in terms of what they've done. The numbers don't lie for this.
Yeah, that's monumental.
Offense. Yeah.
What a move.
And again, that is even including the frustrating close to the season against Kansas City and Los Angeles when, as Trout was saying, they were seeing some things that they had not seen before. The Chiefs in particular, Steve Spagnuolo really was throwing some things at them. But even Jesse Minter was for the Chargers as well. I mean, to his credit, that was a good game plan, and it's part of the reason why he's popping up on a lot of these coaching searches right now and taking a lot of interviews this week.
Yeah, in fact, one of the hottest, maybe under the radar for some, but one of the hottest head coaching candidates out there is Minter.
Yeah. So Chargers might be losing both offensive and defensive coordinators, although offensive was voluntary, as Jim Harbaugh's finally going to have an offense without Greg Roman.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's never had that in the NFL.
Speaking of a dated reference, that's like Mork without Mindy. You know what I mean? You think of all the greats. That's the first one that came into my mind. But you think of like great duos. I don't ever say Mork. I say Mork and Mindy.
How old do you have to be to get that reference?
Our age.
Yeah. Or older. Like,
perhaps.
You could have just said peanut butter without jelly, although you can have peanut butter with banana. That's pretty good. Like, peanut butter works with other things.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Whatever a great duo is, it ain't going to be that way with the Chargers anymore. So interesting to note how this Broncos offense is going to go about business. I've called Marvin Mims an X factor. Mace, would you agree?
One of them. I think we talked about another X factor potentially in Evan Engram. I think Jaleel McLaughlin is an X factor too. I think those are the 3 X factors I'm looking at in this game.
I would love to see 4 or 5 catches or just touches, offensive touches from Marvin Mims. He
Yeah.
can make plays with that speed. He doesn't lose speed when he changes direction. I think it'd be great.
5 touches for Marvin Mims Jr. is kind of a magic number for him. It has been over the last couple of years. 5 tends to be a point at which he becomes more effective, and even the offense, for the most part, becomes more effective when he gets 5 touches. I think the Broncos ought to be looking to create 5 opportunities for him on offense in this game.
Yeah, 5 opportunities for Marvin. Let that X factor go. And if you do see some of those one-on-ones, that's where Troy Franklin can come back into the mix.
Yeah.
So see if Franklin will do just that. Also, Pat Bryant. I think we need to bring up Pat Bryant. There's just like there's a block. There's a key block to spring an RJ Harvey touchdown. There's a key third down. One of the things, and he had it in college, the clutch gene.
Yes.
And there's going to be some play, because everything's important in the playoffs. There's going to be some like 3rd and 8, gotta have it, driving late, need this, need to move the chains, must have it. Court's going to be bracketed, and you throw it to Pat Bryant, and the kid's going to come down with it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because so much of this Broncos tale this season has been what they do in the clutch. Of course, the 11-2 mark, including 10 straight wins in 1-score games. And that was a big part of why they drafted him. What jumped out is what he did in those high leverage situations. And so if it comes down to it, the last 3 minutes of a game, they're tied or they're behind and they need a play, Pat Bryant's kind of been the guy, could be the guy that you want to get the ball in that situation. And
no doubt.
And the other thing for Pat Bryant so far this season, I mean, if you go for the Broncos here and look at how he's done, even with the game that he missed to the concussion, of course, because he was out on Christmas Day after having that concussion late in the game against Kansas City. I mean, he's been right there. He closed pretty solid, 24 catches, 292 yards coming down the stretch. He was right. He was number 3 among wide receivers, Broncos receivers in receptions and receiving yards coming from the Houston Texans game onward. So the last 8 games of the season, his last 8 games of the season, he was on just under a 600-yard pace for the season. That's not bad. Pretty solid and promising rookie season for Pat Bryant, especially when you look at what he did in the back half of the year. First half of the year, not really all that involved. Getting more involved there from the Cowboys game onward.
Can they make it happen? Will they make it happen offensively? They can. On the ground for sure. Don't go away from it.
Yeah.
Don't
Run
go
the
away
ball.
from it, Sean.
Like Sean Payton said he's going to have written on his play sheet. Run the ball. It's important. Against that very poorly ranked Buffalo Bills run defense.
Yes. We'll see what they can do on offense. And now it's time to talk a little bit of defense for the Denver Broncos. But first, how about a word from our sponsor?
Today's episode of Orange and Blue Today is presented by Ramos Law, the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Ramos Law was founded by Dr. Joseph Ramos, an attorney and ER doctor, to provide exceptional care to those injured in accidents. With a unique understanding of both medicine and law, the Ramos Law team is built to fight for you every step of the way. Experience the Ramos Law difference. Contact them today at ramoslaw.com.
All right, Mace, Broncos defense having to contend with Josh Allen. Now, part of the offense, you move the ball, you run the ball, time of possession, that's keeping Josh Allen cold. So it's Josh Allen and James Cook. I think that's where we need to begin. That's the most important kind of scheme, the plays, the players that the Broncos need to concern themselves with. And it's Allen as a runner specifically. As a passer, we got plenty there. But
Yeah.
as a runner, him and James Cook can be quite the problem for the Broncos' rush defense. Now, on paper, what are they, number 2, right? On paper, in terms of the rush defense in the league. You and I have suggested in certain games throughout this season, let's say the Eagles, for example, they stopped running the ball.
Yeah.
There's certain teams out there, Josh Jacobs, they stopped running the ball with Green Bay.
Yeah.
Certain teams kind of get away from that. I don't think Buffalo will get away from that unless they have to.
Yeah, Buffalo, you look at their rush offense right there, second in DVOA, second in EPA per play, second in success rate.
Wow.
It's exceptional. I've said this before, the turning point for this offense, the turning point for James Cook was after the Monday night game against the Broncos 2023. He had that early fumble. Ken Dorsey stopped giving him the ball until the fourth quarter, and Buffalo gradually fell behind, and then they start giving Cook the ball again in the fourth quarter, and he starts shredding the Broncos, and then Buffalo takes the lead. Broncos have the answer at the end and win the game. But Dorsey gets fired the next day. Joe Brady takes over play calling after that, and that unlocked James Cook to where he is today. It's a balanced offense. They don't have a wide receiver one, of course, a true wide receiver one, and what's left of this wide receiver core is battered, but it still has the dynamic that can cause the Broncos problems because we know they still have trouble with some tight ends, and you've got 2 in Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. But when you complement it with the kind of power running that James Cook brings, it has the elements that have been troublesome for the Broncos in recent years, have been a little bit of a kryptonite. So that is the concern here going into this game. And again, Josh Allen taking off and running. Broncos more of a man coverage team than most, so that's where it brings in the question, okay, do you spy on Josh Allen? And if so, with whom do you spy?
Right. And is that the best plan against Josh Allen? If you're going to play man, you better.
Is it, I mean, we've talked about possibilities at linebacker. What if the spy is someone like Jade?
I would worry about Jade as a tackler. Maybe that Jacksonville game's in my head.
The size, perhaps.
Yeah, and Josh Allen's huge.
Yeah.
Big man.
I mean, he has the speed
Certainly.
to meet him.
Yes.
One
bring
thing,
him down, though.
yeah. One thing that you heard in the locker room, and this was something Nick Benito, Jonathan Cooper pointed out with James Cook. You got to swarm to the ball. That was something that the defensive players had on their mind this week. Is swarm. It's not one guy. So it's one guy get there. And I think this is true even for Josh Allen when he takes off. First guy holds up. Everyone's got to get there after. This is very much a game where the Broncos' swarming capability, which is pretty high.
Dynamic.
That's one of the best aspects of this defense. This is the game where it's got to come through because it really this is not the individual performance. This is the collective where it's all got to come together here. The fact that the Broncos, when this D is at its best, is at the collective. It's guys all attacking, all converging on the ball. That's going to serve them well in this game, and that is one thing where it is where you think about, okay, maybe sometimes if you do some creative things with Jade, and we've seen more creative things with Jade down the stretch, perhaps from time to time he does become the spy because you count on giving him the support. You say, okay, maybe you're not going to be able to bring a big guy like Josh Allen down yourself, but you can count on somebody being there to make sure you can make sure
Funnel him.
they're going to get him down. Yep.
Funnel them to your teammates, to your help.
Yep. The help's going to arrive. Takes the
Bills-
village.
Yeah, Bills have a huge offensive line. They're going to try to run it, and they're going to continue to run it. And if they're down by 10, they're still going to run.
Yeah.
So be ready for a street fight, and you cannot have a bad tackling day. If this looks like the Jacksonville game tackling-wise, it's going to look like the Jacksonville game score-wise.
The fortunate thing is none of these receivers are Parker Washington.
Very true. They do have an X factor in Curtis Samuel if he plays.
Yes.
And there is an X factor, and I can totally nerd out with you on this conversation. Not many people can. But Reggie Gillum, their fullback, is, I think, the best in the league, and he takes you to the ball. The great thing about the Bills and what they've done this year is Gillum is a road grader, battering grader, road ram. I don't know what you want to call him, but like he's amazing. Smashing
battering
holes. Yes, definitely a battering ram. Smashing holes and then taking you right to James Cook. So you can follow Gillum. He'll take you to the ball.
Yeah.
Here's where sequencing comes in. And as I watched the wild card round, I thought the sequencing wins out. The coaches that are better at sequencing. Gillum will take you to the ball first quarter, second quarter. Even into the third quarter, Gillum will take you to the ball. And then they start going wrinkles off that. Where Gillum's going to go to the hole and you're going to fly to Gillum because he's huge. He's hard to miss.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's bootleg, roll out, pass. You know, they do a great job with their setting you up. Gillum over the head, Gillum. And then all of a sudden not taking you to the ball.
Yep. And it's a sprinkling that you'll see with Gillum. He only has, I'm just looking this up here, Cease. He only has 2 games this season in which he's played more than 30% of the snaps. Against Atlanta and against Carolina back in October.
So when he's in, you're going to notice.
Yeah. Last week he played 9 snaps. Against the Jets a couple weeks back, 15. Against the Eagles another week before that, 7. In fact, he has not. In fact, you've got to go all the way back to that Carolina game end of October to see the last time he even played 20 snaps in a game. So they're going to use him judiciously, but like you said, you're going to notice when he's out there, and they'll try to use him to deceive their intent as well too. That is another thing to watch out for. So don't just think when he's going out there that it's instantly going to be James Cook following him
Behind him.
Yeah, they'll catch you off guard with him. They'll throw curveballs with Gillum. They like to do that.
Yep. So be ready for it because it's and as a player, it's probably easy to fall into the fullback to the ball, and then now it's a toss play. Now it's a pass play. Now it's not following Gillum. So they do a good job of that. Broncos, Vance Joseph will have these guys ready.
Yes. He will. It's a big moment for Vance.
It's a straight up street fight. That's how I see this game. I do not see it as a, runaway. Fans are getting nuts, which I appreciate, but 38-10, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that.
It would be wild if it was.
I'd have a great post-game show because it'd be a little more relaxing. I think the cardiac medicine is going to be in play on Saturday.
Yeah. The preparation for VJ and the defense in this game. We're going to play a comment here from VJ, basically talking about any attempt to simulate Josh Allen in practice is completely futile.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way to win every game. And obviously, his legs are special. He's got good size. He can make every single throw. That's not different for us, but you can't simulate it, obviously. If you could, you would. But you can't, right? It's one Josh Allen, and he lives in Buffalo. He'll show up Saturday morning, and we got to get him stopped. But it's ways to win every game, and we have to practice that way and have a plan that way and adjust quickly, and obviously put the fires out when they come. But that's our job, and, I'm hoping we play our best football Saturday. It's time. It's been a long, good year for our defense. some ups and downs, but it's time to play our best ball. That's the expectation.
Thought that was interesting. He put kind of put a challenge out there for his defense too.
It
there
did.
at the end.
Yes.
Play our best football. It's time. He kind of put their feet to the fire a little bit. I like that.
A little bit. Yes, he did.
Yeah. Like, find that extra. Dig deep. Find that little bit more that you have to find at this level.
Playoff football.
Yeah.
It's a must.
As we alluded to earlier in the show, don't get too tight, but you do have to dig down and find that extra. The Broncos didn't have that extra last year. They learned what you have to have in January. They didn't have it then.
They definitely didn't have it then.
Even though Sean Payton says that the value of experience is one of the 8 myths of postseason football, he hasn't shared all 8 of them. He shared 3 of them.
And then VJ said, wow, Huff and Dre, they have such experience.
I know. I thought that was interesting.
Like, what are you doing, Sean? What are you doing, Sean?
He also, here's the other thing with Sean when he talked about myths. He said home field advantage is a myth. Yet they fought hard for home field. He set home field advantage as one of his goals.
That's what he wanted.
Like, that was a big deal. Win the division, get a home game. Like, to win the division and get a home game. Now, like, getting home field advantage was a step beyond. But to win a division and start the postseason at home was this big screaming goal. So they didn't have to go on the road immediately like they did last year. And yet he got up there this week and said home field advantage was one of the myths of the postseason. Now, I'll say this. Maybe some of that comes from his own experience down the stretch in New Orleans, because in 2020, his Saints lost at home. Now, COVID year, no fans. They lost to Tampa Bay after beating Chicago. The year before, they were one and done, losing at home to Minnesota. The previous year, of course, they lost to the Rams in the AFC or NFC Championship game. Worst non-call in the history of the NFL.
And the Minnesota game was the Minnesota Miracle.
No. The Minnesota game 2019 was in overtime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Minnesota Miracle was in Minnesota in the 2017 playoffs, a week after they had beaten Carolina at home. So that means in that stretch, the Saints would have been 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. The Saints would have been 3-3 in the postseason at the Superdome. But in the first part of his successful run in New Orleans, because there were two peaks for Sean Payton with the Saints. There was the post 2017 draft peak in the back half of his time, and then of course there was 2006 through 13, the early years, and then in home games in the Superdome, they were in home playoff games 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. Yeah, they were 4-0 in home playoff games, and then they were 3-3 later. So does a 7-3 record in the Superdome, does that tell you a home field advantage is a myth or not in the postseason?
Right.
6-2 with crowds. We'll throw out the COVID year. 6-2 with crowds. I'd say that's a home field advantage.
That's a home field advantage, Sean. Who was coaching the fans on when to cheer the loudest?
Yes.
Home field advantage is a myth. Can you cheer when they're in the huddle, please?
Yeah, he's encouraging fans to cheer when the Bills and Josh Allen get into the huddle. Like he wants to see Josh Allen doing this when the play call is coming in, and then as he's trying to relay the play call, everyone screaming at the top of their lungs, so the Bills players have trouble hearing the play in the huddle. Mike McGlinchey was saying this week that sometimes he'll sit next to Quinn Miners on the sideline, and he'll have trouble hearing what Quinn says, even though they're right next to each other, because the home crowd has been so loud this year.
Right.
So Broncos country has done its part at Empower Field at Mile High this year.
Yes, they have.
You know,
Got some more work to do, fans.
Yeah. If they can just keep in a new stadium, if they can keep the same fans, I mean, we'll see what happens with how tickets are done and all that. But if they can keep the same fans, and that's going to be like seat licensing and whatnot, hopefully they won't do seat licenses. Because if they can keep the same fans going to games, and then all of a sudden you put a roof over it, it would be even louder in theory.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, shake the roof.
At least for those games where you close the roof. Now, based on what the Broncos are saying for a game like this, I think what they're saying about 40 degrees or so, what they're saying is that the roof would be open for a game like this.
Wind was a conversation on Thursday. Any concerns there, like passing, kicking? I believe Sean brought up the Washington game as one of the coldest they had played in. So I don't believe wind is going to be that serious.
I'm reading right now 5 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I am reading a drop, not 40. Now I'm reading 36 degrees at kickoff. So it'll be that's not really weather being a factor. 36 in Denver's fine, but
it's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's not that East Coast. It's not that Buffalo cold.
No.
Buffalo cold's different.
Bring a coat, because once the sun sets, it's going to start getting a little bit frosty, By the end of the game, probably right around freezing. But that's okay. It's Denver. Come on. Y'all are from Colorado. They're going to be at this game. You're fine. You can put on a coat and deal with it. Everyone's good. Everyone can handle this. Ah, man.
Are you ready? We're here. We made it.
Like, I kind of feel like Mike McGlinchey does.
We always joke on the O-line that if you could fast forward the 36 hours from the end of Friday's practice to kickoff, that would be the best time of the week. But that's really the only part of the week that you feel like you're really dragging on and waiting for it, because you finish kind of all your on-field work before you go and play.
I was feeling that when he said that
Fast
earlier
forward
this week. Just this Friday, it's just hours kind of ticking by. All right. As Milhouse would say on The Simpsons, when are we going to get to the fireworks factory? I'm not crying like he did, but that's what I'm feeling. But it's also another mood that was in the locker room this week was definitely an appreciation for what this team is, but also an acknowledgement that if they lose, this is it. Like, that it's a special group, and if they lose it, that group won't be together again. That was something that clearly guys were thinking about. I'm going to play another comment from Big Mike here on just that, like about how this particular team has a unique bond. This was a sentiment that was reiterated by other players as well, but I think Mike probably talked about it the best.
I think so. I think this is as close of a group as I've ever been a part of. I think everybody enjoys playing with each other. Everybody enjoys going to work with each other. It's competitive in a healthy way. From training camp, you kind of evolve from, hey, the defense is the enemy, to now you're rooting them on, and because obviously we're all working for the same goal. But the competition that starts in April and the respect that builds in April from both sides of the ball, and then obviously in teams, you just kind of keep growing together, and then all of a sudden guy steps up here or there, and you're like, I have a newfound respect for you because of the way that you play, or the way that I've seen you attack workouts in the first 5-6 weeks in OTAs or whatever. Those experiences bring people close together, and I think Sean has done an unbelievable job of building that culture and allowing the players to be who we are and be that way together. And I think it's been the biggest joy playing in Denver so far.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
They play for each other, man.
They do.
Lots of love in that locker room.
It reminds me a lot. Like another group that was really together was the 05 team. The one that they lost in the AFC Championship game to Pittsburgh, but that was the Jake Plummer, Champ Bailey, John Lynch, Al Wilson, Rod Smith. That was a really close-knit team as well. Darrent Williams was a rookie on that team, the late Darrent Williams. Yeah, that was one that had a really strong bond as well. And it made me sad that in the parlance of John Fox, they picked a bad day to have a bad day in the AFC Championship game, because if they'd won that game against Pittsburgh, I think
they're beating Seattle.
They would have beaten Seattle. They were the better team, and Seattle laid an egg in that game. I think the Broncos would have probably won that game comfortably in Detroit.
No doubt.
And there's a lot of what ifs to that, because if they get to the Super Bowl and win, Mike Shanahan already has his gold jacket, for one thing. I mean,
Ugh.
yeah, I don't think Mike gets fired by Pat Bowlen
Right.
if they get to the Super Bowl and win it.
The lifetime contract remains a lifetime contract.
Yeah. Heck, I mean, I think it burnishes a case like maybe Rod Smith starts getting a little bit more traction for the Pro Football Hall of Fame than he has, which is to say he gets zero traction, unfortunately, because the receiver group is so deep, and when you look at the guys who aren't getting in, and they do have better cases than Rod. They have deeper resumes, and so like, the Hall of Fame's kind of a mess right now anyway. But this team reminds me a lot of that team 20 years ago in terms of its strength of association. And also in terms of a team that very much is getting every drop out of what it has. That was a very well-coached team. This is a very well-coached team.
That was a unified team.
Yeah.
This is a unified team.
Yeah.
Go win.
Certain teams are like that. I mean, every team, has every team has guys that are together and all that, but this one's pretty special. This is one of my very favorite groups that I've been around. There are a lot of guys I just like. I've learned things from talking with them, and selfishly, I want at least another week. I want at least another week of, tossing a few questions and seeing how far these guys go. So we'll see. We'll find out. Hopefully on Sunday, the show is previewing the first preview of an AFC Championship matchup and not talking about garbage bag day, locker room cleanout.
Go win.
Yeah.
Final message.
I'm getting wistful again. I can't help it. I do.
Not only do they belong, in my opinion, they're the superior team.
They are. They are. Now,
last year they didn't belong. It was clear. On that same field, Buffalo just outmanned them.
Of the four teams that are left in the AFC, I think they're the most well-rounded team.
They are.
Now, that being said, I think objectively Josh Allen is the better quarterback. And because he plays the most impactful position, I think he's the best player in this game. going into it. Doesn't mean he's going to be the best player on Saturday. So it's a tough one to call, but the Bills are battered heading into this. We'll see how much of a myth the bye week rest is. That's another thing that Sean Payton says it's a myth. Again, you fought
Everything you
hard to
wanted.
get everything that they fought hard for.
Win your division, get the best seed possible, win the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yeah, win the division so you get a home game, and then get the number 1 seed so you get a bye. All this stuff the Broncos fought tooth and nail to get, he got up there this week and said was a myth of the postseason. Like, Sean,
What are you doing,
what's
Hans?
the deal here, man?
I believe our friend Sigmund Bloom said it, in the playoffs you shrink or you grow.
Ooh,
And
that's
I don't want
good.
the Broncos to be saying, I was in the pool.
Like George Costanza.
Right. No Costanza moment.
No shrinkage.
No shrinkage. Go out there and grow and show everyone. The nation thinks you can't win. And I get it. There's a love affair with Josh Allen that's well-deserved. He's MVP level. He's a Superman. He's amazing. But this is a team game, baby.
They're not underdogs anymore, though.
Right. They're not underdogs anymore. But nationally, there's a lot of people that aren't going to be picking Denver. And I'm fine with that. Maybe that's why they're one of my favorite teams too, Mace. Just because when we covered Peyton, they were supposed to win. Yeah. You know what I mean? When we covered 2013, it was like, another win. And dropped 7 touchdowns. Like, this one is like they're fighting against the world.
Here's the thing. It's perception of when you've got a great offense compared to when you're defensive oriented. Because that 2013 team, everyone thought, oh, they're going to keep winning, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Mm-hmm. The 2015 team was defensive oriented. That was where their core strength was. So they get to the AFC Championship game, for example, and they play New England, and a lot of people think the Patriots are going to win that game. Yet the best unit on the field was the Broncos D. Think of how much pressure they were getting on Tom Brady, especially. Right. It wasn't just DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller from the edge. What I always thought was the real discombobulation from the Patriots for the Patriots that day was Malik Jackson and Derek Wolfe from the interior, because they were getting to the spot so fast and completely flustering Tom Brady. Like, the interior pressure was just dissolving everything from inside out. So it's the offense seems to create a greater illusion of dominance than defense does. And that's wrong. It shouldn't be that way.
Right.
Because over the years, in January into February now, defense usually, if you have a team in the Super Bowl, like in the Super Bowl specifically, if you have a team that's got a great defense and another team with a great offense, as the Broncos experienced in Super Bowl 48, the defense usually wins. They were on the business end of that against the Seattle Seahawks. The history says the team with the great defense, if you have that showdown, is usually going to win the day. It's why Houston may be in such great shape going into that game with New England. Mm-hmm. Even though the Patriots...
Nico Collins, C.J. Stroud turned the ball over tons of times.
Yeah, even though...
that defense.
I mean, Drake May is probably the MVP of the league, I think. Is that fair to say?
Him or Matthew Stafford?
Him or Stafford, yep. And Drake May is clearly on his way to being one of those guys. Remember Vance Joseph talking about the 4 AFC quarterbacks?
Wreck your week. Wreck your dreams.
Wreck your dreams. And Drake May's probably headed to that group.
And look at this quarterback class, dude. We have Caleb, Drake, and Bo.
Yeah.
All in the divisional round. I'm getting chills just talking about it. It's a football fan's dream. This league thrives on great quarterback play.
Yeah. And we're going to start finding out who's this weekend may show us can these guys enter the chat or not? We'll see. Can Bo Nix step it? Can Bo Nix step into the conversation? It'll be tough for him to really enter that. Like if the Broncos go to the Super Bowl, it may be perceived a lot like a Jalen Hurts with Philadelphia.
Sure, right.
And I get that because you can't look at his performance in the regular season. Like even though he did well in the clutch, and you have this, you can look at splits in terms of what he does, say at the end of like, and I've broken it out like what he does in the last 3 minutes of the first half, what he does in close and late, the last 3 minutes of regulation and overtime, specifically when he's tied or behind. You take last 3 minutes of the first half plus last 3 minutes of the second half when tied or behind and overtime, and you have a quarterback who, if you take those sequences of the game, he's in passer rating, he is, I believe, 6th or 7th in the league. There is about a 24-point rating point discrepancy between what he is in those situations and what he is in the rest of the game. And because of that, and because of where he ends up overall, if the Broncos win a Super Bowl, even if the Broncos win a Super Bowl, it's still going to be hard for Bo to enter that group because of the body of work over the course of the regular season. It's not going to merit that. It just is what it is. But that's okay. That's fine. It's a good debate topic. But you don't have to be at that level to win a Super Bowl if you've got enough around you. That's the thing. Like if you're a Josh Allen level, you don't have to have everything around you to win big.
It's like that way in the 80s.
Yes, and I think you see that kind of with Buffalo. I mean, we've talked about their run defense is abysmal. Okay? Their defense in general this year has been shaky.
Their receivers leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah, they have one of the worst receiving cores in the NFL. Keon Coleman's been a disappointment to this point in his career. They have a terrific tight end core and they have a great running back, but their wide receiver core is one of the worst in football. But Josh Allen can get every drop out of that. What remains to be seen is does Bo become that level of quarterback who elevates the players around him? That's what we'll find out over the next few years. And that's what separates the elite from the others. And Drake May is probably closer to that than Bo Nix. But the Broncos have a better overall team, and this is still a team game. Still is. And this team has earned the right to host every AFC playoff game it has.
So go win, team.
Yeah.
Get another one. Almost there. You know, if we were crazy and we had the time, Mace, you know what we should do?
What?
A marathon show right up to kickoff. like overnight show. Like, hey, let's just go Friday. We'll start at 6. We'll go to Saturday at 2:30. Like, that'd be crazy.
And just take comments, calls.
Yeah. See,
yeah,
we get a little crazy, but
let everyone just unload their thoughts, their anxieties, even.
It's like football therapy, right?
Because I think there's excitement, but I think there's some anxiety in Broncos country too.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But hey. I'm excited to go cover a playoff game, though. It's been too long. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess look at these gray hairs that have set in since then. The world's changed a great deal since the Broncos' last playoff game.
Yes, it has.
Not for the better.
We're on the highway to hell. I did see a boat. I'm going to send you the tweet because there was a boat named like ACSEA
Yeah.
DC for those about to fish. That was the name of the boat. This is the greatest name of a boat ever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
For those about to fish, we salute you.
Broncos country, we salute you
Yeah.
on orange and blue today.
You know, I wonder what it'd be like just living on a boat and just sailing from port to port,
I could do that.
sail around the world.
You know, in Marina Del Rey, your port fee is about $900 a month.
Okay.
Buy a yacht for like $70,000, smaller yacht.
Yes.
Live on your yacht. Live in Marina Del Rey, $900 a month. I just might retire there, Mace.
That actually sounds pretty good.
It's not too bad. Not too shabby.
Yeah, you can. At the marina, they can get Wi-Fi at the marina, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Work from your boat.
Oh man. Isn't that what? This is another dated reference. That's what Dr. Quincy did, right? He lived on a boat.
Yes, he did.
I always thought that was cool. I mean, I didn't want to be a coroner, but I like the idea of living on a boat.
Right. I like the idea of the Broncos advancing to the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
In fact, I love that idea.
It'd be nice to do another week of shows leading up to a game, as opposed to shows winding down a season and leading up to, not that I don't love the Shrine and Senior Bowl, but I'm hoping my Shrine Bowl trip is one day.
Abbreviated.
That's because that's what it will be. If the Broncos win, my Shrine Bowl trip is literally 24 hours to go watch practice on the Saturday, and that's it. That's what I'm hoping.
Yep.
So.
We shall see. All right, Mace, we're going to get out of here for a Friday show. Game plan. Stay tuned for, of course, the post-game show on Saturday right after the game's over. What kind of reaction will I have?
I don't know.
All right.
Fixing to find out. Yes, I got it in.
You got it in. Have to. All right. We have to get this in as well to help us out on YouTube. How do folks do just that?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell
so that you
never miss
a vid. That's right. Air high five. He's Andrew Mason. I am Cecil Lammey. It is orange and blue today here on our Denver Sports YouTube channel. Everyone, thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned. And as always, would you please stay frosty,